Hi, welcome to Mindful Chatting on our Thoughtful Thursdays series. I'm Kristen. If you're new here, welcome. We're going to talk today about the one thing that research shows is the strongest predictor of relationship failure. And guess what? It's not conflict, it's not communication issues, it's not even how people argue, it's contempt. And the scary part is that most people don't even realize that they're actually doing it because contempt doesn't always look really loud. Sometimes it looks like a small eye roll, a sarcastic comment, a dismissive tone, or a thought you don't say out loud. And over time, it creates distance that's really hard to repair. So, today we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what contempt actually looks like, how it shows up in subtle ways within your relationship, why it's so damaging, and how to catch it before it erodes your relationship. But guess what? We're going to do it together.
Welcome to Mindful Chatting, a podcast where therapy meets real life. I'm Kristen, a therapist, business owner, and a lifelong student of what it means to fully show up in our relationships, in our work, and in our healing. Here, we unpacked mental health concepts, explore mindfulness tools, and talk through the messy, beautiful, in-between moments that shape us. Whether you're a fellow clinician, a curious listener, or someone navigating your own growth, this space is for you. Let's chat.
But contempt is not just anger. It's not even just frustration. It's actually a sense of superiority over your partner. So it sounds like I'm more emotionally aware than you are, or I would never do that, or this is why I can't rely on you. Even if you don't even say these things out loud, you do feel them, and your partner does feel it too. So, this is how contempt can kind of show up. Contempt doesn't always look very obvious. It can show up as sarcasm or eye rolling or dismissing concerns or interrupting, correcting constantly, talking down to your partner. Or using your tone more than your words, or even internally going, here we go again, or you're so predictable, or I really can't take you seriously. And here's the thing, you don't need to say it for it to be felt. And that's what's kind of scary about all of this. So, where does contempt really come from? Contempt doesn't come out of nowhere. It builds, and usually from unspoken resentments or repeated unmet needs within the relationship, feeling unheard, or feeling emotionally disconnected from your partner. So instead of expressing, I'm hurt, or I feel disconnected, or I need something different from you, it'll turn into judgment, criticism, emotional distancing, because vulnerability feels way too risky than actually saying how we're feeling.
If you want to understand your ADHD in a deeper way, I've created the ADHD Crash Course, and it walks you through ADHD step by step so that you can actually start understanding your brain and not shaming it. Everything's in small, doable lessons designed for your ADHD in mind. The link is in the show notes.
This is where contempt can get really important in a relationship. Contempt doesn't just hurt feelings, it changes the emotional safety within the relationship. So when contempt is present, the relationship starts to feel unsafe, dismissive, emotionally distant, invalidating. And once safety drops within a relationship, everything just gets so much harder in that relationship. Communication gets harder, connection gets harder, and repair, that's even harder because you're no longer interacting as equals. You're interacting from a place of one up or one down. And that never goes well within a relationship. So here's the internal shift. Most people try to fix contempt by changing your behavior. So stop being sarcastic or don't roll your eyes. But the behavior isn't the root. The root is the internal narrative that we have within ourselves. So instead of asking, how do I stop doing this? I want you to ask yourself, what am I telling myself about my partner? because contempt lives in that narrative story. The behavior is just a consequence of our contempt. So let's catch it in real time. So I want you to notice when you have these micro reactions, or sometimes we'll refer to them as microaggressions too. I want you to pay attention to your tone, your body language, your internal reactions when your partner brings something up to you. Those small moments actually matter because they're constantly reiterating this narrative about what you have either about your partner or about the relationship that you have with your partner. And then I want you to get curious. I don't want you to get critical of yourself because that's never going to go anywhere. So instead of saying, they always do this or I always react this way, I want you to try to ask yourself, what is actually happening here? I want you to think about, why does my partner react this way? Or what is my partner trying to get from their unmet need? Or what is this internal reaction that's really causing me to feel this way towards my partner? And then I want you to actually express how you're feeling, which I know goes against everything that we've been doing, but we're trying to get this emotional safety back. So instead of saying, you never listen to me, I want you to say, I feel ignored when this particular thing happens. The more specific that you can get about the thing that's causing you to feel ignored, the better. And when you start describing to your partner and focusing on either behaviors or certain situations, they're going to feel less criticized, hopefully less defensive, and more receptive to what you're actually saying, which is this unmet need of feeling heard. And then I really want you to address this resentment very early as it happens for you. Contempt is usually delayed honesty. So say things a lot sooner. If you have thoughts and emotions that pop up in this moment, you harboring them and withdrawing from them and disengaging from them is actually what's creating this narrative of that I can't share things with my partner. My partner doesn't receive things, which shows you that this unmet need is because of your partner, when really it's because you're not sharing your honesty and transparency of how you're feeling within the relationship, even if it might hurt your partner. There's no emotional safety in that. Plus, we need to rehumanize your partner. This one is really big. Contempt dehumanizes people, and connection requires seeing your partner as a full person again, not just a problem. So, this is where black and white thinking can come in, or splitting, where we may think that our partner is all good or all bad. And when we do this, it dehumanizes people. It's saying that they're either all one thing or they're all not another. When really we're a mush, we're gray, we're not all good and we're not all bad. We're together with both of those things. And so humanizing your partner is seeing them on a spectrum, seeing that there is some behavior that bothers you, that you don't necessarily like. But there's also some really good in your partner too. They're not all bad all the time. I want you to say, I think a lot of people don't realize it's not the big fights that create this distance. It's the small moments of disconnection that really go unchecked within your relationship.
Okay, quick pause. Because you've ever found yourself rewinding this episode like 3 times because your brain just drifted, this is for you. I hear this all the time. I can focus, just not when I actually need to. And that's exactly what the focus course is about. Because here's the truth. ADHD isn't a lack of attention, it's a regulation issue, which is why some days you're locked in for hours and other days you're rereading the same sentence, wondering what just happened. So, inside my executive functioning focus course, I break this down in a way that actually makes sense for you. We go through how your attention works in your brain, your specific focus patterns, why you get distracted externally and internally, and how to actually build a system that helps you stay on track and come back when you drift. Because the goal isn't perfect focus, it's knowing how to return without spiraling. So if you're tired of blaming yourself and you just want something that actually works with your brain, I'll link the focus course in the show notes. All right, let's get back to this episode.
As we close up, I want to remind you that contempt doesn't destroy relationships overnight. It actually kind of erodes them very slowly and in very small moments and in very subtle ways. And the earlier that you notice it, the more chance you have to repair it with your partner and change that dynamic within your relationship. Because underneath contempt, there's usually something softer that hasn't been said yet and probably needs to be said. I want to thank you for joining me. And as always, be gentle with your mind.
One more thing before you go, and this helps me personally, staying present and grounded, which we all need, especially when your brain wants to spiral into disconnection. Me too. It's Brain FM. It's musically designed to help ADHD brains, well, really anyone's brain, focus, relax, or sleep, and I use it almost daily. If you want to try it, I've dropped my link in the show notes. And if you're looking for planning tools or ADHD-friendly resources, I'll keep a list of my favorite links in every episode.